Can you be greater than your body?
Yes.
Greater than your environment?
Yes.
Greater than time?
Yes.
Because if you can, you will truly change. Because to change is to be greater than your body, greater than your environment, and greater than time. You should know by now that you're then not hardwired to be that way for the rest of your life. And that you're not your genes that's causing you to head to some genetic destiny. That we are marvels of adaptability and change. And the way we change is to become conscious of what we've been unconscious to. And the act of becoming aware of what we were unaware of, the act of self-observation, means you're no longer that program. Now you are the consciousness observing that program, and you're beginning to objectify your subjective self. You're seeing yourself through the eyes of someone else. And you can begin to understand what you have to change about yourself to step into a new future. Are you with me still? Yes. So the act of becoming conscious of what you've been unconscious to, and if that's 95% of the time, for the most part, then I would say that when you're unconscious, you're running a program. And I would also say that if you're not in the present moment, you're running a program as well. And then the program becomes greater than our will. And in fact, it's running us. So then, if you go to the wedding, and it's a Mexican wedding, of course, which are the best weddings in the world. And, you know, they start who the hell knows when, and I don't know what's up with Mexicans when they say the afternoon, because that could mean up to 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. So it starts sometime in the afternoon, finishes maybe 2 afternoons later. And you just keep eating salsa for your hangover, and you just keep going. So you go to the Mexican wedding, and you have your little tequilitas, your little 2 shots of tequila, and you're talking to all your friends, and then here comes the champagne, and you're drinking the champagne, toasting away, and then you have some hors d'oeuvres, and then you sit down, and here comes the good wine, and you have 3 great glasses of wine, and all of a sudden, here comes the music. Boom. Boom, 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 and all of a sudden it's a song of when you were, 19 years old. And you just can't pass it up. So you get out there, and you do this kind of thing. You got this whole thing going, and all your friends jump out there, and then here they come with the video camera. Videoing the whole show, and you're just bumping in there, man. And then all of a sudden, they post the wedding on the internet. Now, here's my question. If you are observing yourself, would you agree that the next time you go to a wedding, you may bring it in a little bit? Kind of refine some of those moves that no longer exist, except in your own body and mind? Would you agree then you would self-correct, modify something about you to do a better job? So you have to observe yourself in order to do that, yes or no? Yes. And if you're doing a lecture and you got one finger up your nose and you're moving your bra around and doing whatever, would you agree then, if you observed yourself, no one would observe you like you would? Right? You're just watching everything about you, just going, oh my God, that was my mother. What the hell was it? Oh my God, I better straighten up. You start looking at yourself and beginning to modify who you are. Would you agree? Yes. And that's called evolution. So then, if 95% are unconscious programs because you wake up in the morning and you got to get in touch with that feeling, and that feeling is going to begin to turn on circuits in your brain equal to the past, and then you run to the same choice, the rush to the same behavior to create the same experience, all for the familiar feeling called you. You keep doing that over and over again. That becomes a program. Yes? Yes. So then what you do is you have the thought and you connect to the feeling, and then the rest is just your body following your mind in your known familiar environment. Yes or no?
Yes.
So then the habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through frequent repetition. So then if a habit is when your body goes on autopilot, if you've been running through the same routine behaviors for the last 20 years and you're doing the same thing tomorrow, then your body is on autopilot into a predictable future unconsciously based on what you were unconsciously doing in the past. And you are thinking the same thoughts, making the same choices, demonstrating the same behaviors, creating the same experiences for the same familiar emotion, then you would have to agree you're keeping the same genes on and the other genes off. Are you with me still? Yes. But they now know that there are genes called behavior-dependent genes and experience-dependent genes, that if you do something real well and keep recreating the experience, those behavior-dependent genes and those experience-dependent genes are passed on to the next generation so that they can already have an advancement on the environment they're living in. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, yeah, a lot of people are headed for a genetic destiny because they're embracing and perceiving and behaving and thinking and feeling just like their parents. Are you with me still? Yes. And they're signaling the same gene. So then, check this out. It's the environment that signals the gene, yes or no? Yes. But your reaction to the environment produces an emotion, yes or no? Yes. So then it's the emotion that signals the gene, yes or no? Yes. So then if you are memorized to some emotion, addicted to some emotion, conditioned to some emotion, and that emotion's creating the same habits and the same attitudes, then for the most part, those emotions are driving your thoughts and behaviors, and they're consistent with that emotion. You keep the same genes on and the other genes off because your body is believing it's in the same environmental condition, and the same information is signaling the same gene. And if you keep signaling the same gene in the same way, and you consistently downregulate it and downregulate it and downregulate it, sooner or later it's going to get programmed to make a cheaper protein. And what happens when the body breaks down? What happens to our skin? What happens to our joints? What happens to our bones? What happens to our nails? Those are all proteins. And the body starts degenerating because there's no new information coming from any environmental change. How many people are with me? Here's the question. If you're perceiving your reality from the same level of mind every single day, and you're reacting to the same circumstances in your life emotionally then every single day, and your environment isn't changing because you're not changing, then the environment is signaling the same gene. Are you with me still? And so then we have a limited amount of emotions that we experience in survival. And every one of them is a very specific signature emotionally that selects a very specific gene.